Oops. Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel. Apologies for the technical details at the very start of the stream. I forgot I actually turned the camera off so I could go fold laundry. As part of my delivery from Jester that I got earlier this week finally, one of the games that I got was Gloom of Kilforth by, not sure what the company is here, I'm sure it'll tell me on the back. But just like the other product unboxings, we're going to dig into this one and see what's in the box. So let's take a look here. The land of Kilforth is a perilous domain filled with nefarious monsters, mysterious strangers, and treacherous locations. Throughout the land, various factions vie for power. The supposedly noble Order of the Rose, the terrifying Doomguard, and the evil Overlord Masklaw, to name a few. At the heart of Kilforth is the Sprawl, a huge city where intrepid heroes begin their journey to fame and fortune. Over the coming month, a deadly gloom will descend upon Kilforth, through which the heroes must battle to prove their worth, defeat a primordial evil, and save the land from darkness. Gloom of Kilforth is a hot game of high fantasy with a gothic edge, where 1 to 4 players, working individually or together, assume the role of heroes on a journey through a dark world of magic and peril. They will visit strange places, stranger people, and defeat powerful enemies in their mission to discover mysterious artifacts and mystical spells. Each player follows their hero's tale, an epic saga from modest beginnings through to a climactic battle that will decide the fate of the world. And looks like it's by All or Nothing Productions from the UK. So let's crack this open and see what we've got in here. We've got the rule book, which we'll give our usual cursory thumb through at the end. Looks like we've got a reference sheet here, and we've got a mess of the cards in here. Let's see if I can do a little bit toward organizing this. Let's see. We're going to put... I'm dropping everything here. Hold on. Some of the cards went flying on me, and then my microphone fell on me. So let's do a little bit of sorting here. I'm not sure if this box is going to survive, though. Let's go items, allies, items. Whole boatload, a few allies in here. Looks like the cards kind of got jumbled a little bit in here. Let's see, items, allies, plots, items, allies. Normally I wouldn't go through the cards like this, but because the cards got a little bit jumbled up on me, I at least want to get these sorted out so I can figure out what I want to do for storage on these. Items, allies. Looks like we've got a bag of... That's probably the treasure bag in there if you can see in there. At least that's what I've seen in other playthroughs. Probably standees for the different characters that we've got. I think that might be coins, time, health. I forget what all of these are, but this is going to need to get sorted out. This isn't going to fly. Then we've got probably a marker for first hero. More standees for characters. I think Jester said there was an expansion in here as well. Not sure what these are for. This might tell me, the rulebook might tell me more about that. 1565 St. Elmo's Pay. Looks like we've got a product catalog in here. Yep. We've got Shadows of Kilforth, which is also coming as an unboxing later. What else do we have here? 1565. 1066 Tears to Many Mothers. Sublime Dark. That could be interesting. And the rest of the cards got jumbled here. We've got our spells. Let's see. Looks like these are plots. Ancient abilities, plot, items. Yeah, this is definitely going to be the last product unboxing for tonight, but far from the last one that I'm going to be doing this weekend, because I got a whole bunch of games in. Like I said, between Jester's delivery and games that I've been picking up on my own, there's going to be a bunch of stuff that I'm going to need to unbox. So since I'm going to be sorting this one out, looks like these double-sided ones are our heroes, presumably. That's what these are. Let's see, we've got our titles. Mountain cards, so probably terrain. Like I said, I don't normally go through every single card like this. The only reason I'm doing it here is so I can sort these out, since they kind of got jumbled on me a bit in transit, and it'll help me figure out what I'm going to do with storage. We've got planes. Bring those up there. Forest. Badlands. There's probably more of those in the box. Yep. We've got more plots. Ancient abilities. More stuff in the Badlands, it looks like. Let's see. Yep. This is all Badlands going onto that pile. More plots. Ancient abilities. Ancient. More plots. Marquee of Pain is an ancient ability. Looks like Epic Tale, Grueling Path, double-sided. That's probably a special location of some kind. Oh, wait, looks like we've got sagas here. Should probably keep those together. Yeah, we'll keep those together for the time being. We've got Reclaim Land, Reclaim Territory, and then the sagas that go with that. So I think we'll do it like this. Then we've got Dragon Slaying and Vast Wealth. So Dragon's Hoard, that saga. Casket of Souls. Steel Artifact. Labyrinth Lair. Wow, there's a lot of stuff in here. Rescue Villagers. Colossal Awakening. Escort Being. Storm the Keep. Nighttime cards. Which, if I flip, looks like that's more heroes. Orc, Dark Elf, Halfling, Werewolf, Half Demon. Let's see, I've been putting classes there. Actually, these are more classes as well. So that's what we've got over here. Darkmire, Barren Wastes. Looks like our special terrains, which are probably set up based on the scenarios. So I'll just leave all of these together as special locations for the time being. And then we've got our night cards, which I think I was stacking night. Actually, I don't have a stack for night yet, so I'll start one up there for the time being. Then we've got some of our mini European cards. Looks like probably special abilities. I'm going to get a baggie for these, so I can at least keep these somewhat separate from the chaos. Odds are I'm not going to get, well, we'll find out if I can get all of these back in the box in there. I may try to see if I can find some dividers as well. So let's see what I can do here in the main box. I don't think they're going to store... They're definitely not going to store horizontally, and they're not going to close vertically. Well, that's just fantastic. Let's see what I want to do here. Well, this will give me something to work with, I think. Evening, Meandering Mike. Just doing some rapid fire product unboxings here. I got a bunch of new games in and I'm trying to get caught up on them before I get into any kind of maintenance. Plus, it's giving me a good look at the Great Reboxing Challenge. Odds are, no, I'm not going to be able to get everything back in here. Plus, I'm not sure I'm going to keep this box. Well, I don't want to say too soon that I want to keep everything for storage. I think now I see why Jester unboxed everything like this. Or why he boxed everything up like this. Or the way he did. I'm trying to think of how I want to do this. Because I'm definitely sleeving these cards. But I'm definitely not going to be able to keep the box. Right? I'm not going to keep the box as is. Well, getting it back in there is just part one of the challenge. Part two is actually seeing if I can close this whole thing. And boxing it like this, let me bring it in so you can see what I'm trying to do here and what I'm looking at. If this was set to take the cards horizontally, we wouldn't be having this conversation. More than one of the Kilforth games together in there. No, it doesn't look like there's more than one Kilforth game in there. In fact, I also got Shadows of Kilforth as part of the last trade I made with Jester for my Appa Hockey stuff because I decided I was getting rid of Appa Hockey. So I figured I'd work out a trade and see if I could get something back. And Gloom and Shadows of Kilforth were part of what I got back from that. And actually, no, that's not going to close. Just because I've got these cards that are going to be sticking out of the top. But it looks like I can get everything else back in for the time being. Let's see if that's going to close as is. Not perfectly, but I can at least get it out of the way. Plus, I still have to get the reference sheet and the rule book back in here when I'm all said and done with this. Just going to check my phone real quick. Just to make sure nothing else is going on. We'll put the reference sheet back in. And then we'll give the rule book our cursory thumb through. Well, it definitely closed when all of the cards were laying flat, but I don't want the cards laying flat in there, especially if I'm also going to be sleeving everything in the not too distant future. Let's zoom that in, and we'll give the rulebook our cursory thumb through. Okay, identifies the first hero character. Loot is all in that bag. Action points, that's what the black hearts are for. Enemies, fate, gold, health points, hidden, and obstacles. So that's what all of those tokens are for. Do I have plastibands? Band up various subsets of cards, put them flat in the wide portion, and put the wood bits in the narrow portion. I don't have any of those. I could... I don't think all the bits would fit in the narrow portion, though. You know what might go, though? If I just use a whole mess of baggies for the time being. And that would be a temporary solution on getting those in. Let me see. I just bought a 1,000 pack of these 4x7 inch baggies Where I work, I actually bought them from work. So where I work, I can get merchandise at cost. I'll put the ancient stuff together. But like I said, these 5 million baggies, that's going to be a temporary solution while I figure out something a little bit more permanent. Plastic bands are safe, whereas rubber bands can damage cards. I'm not going to be using rubber bands for these. Like I said, what I'm doing for the time being is I'm just going to put the cards in baggies, because I can guarantee you that I can all but guarantee that this box is not going to be the permanent solution to the problem. In fact, there are pretty good odds. Well, I don't know what the exact solution is going to be yet, but this is, like I said, these baggies are going to be a temporary fix once I get all these bagged up. Then we'll go back to the manual. And as long as they're bagged up, I don't mind the baggies going flying on me, because at least then the cards aren't going to scatter all to hell in creation. Let's see, we'll get the mountain cards in over here. I'm doing all of the bagging off shot here. And like I said, this is going to be the last unboxing for tonight, but I still have a few I need to get to. Let's see, this is all of the sagas that are in here. I wonder if one of those Pyule cases would work for this. Badlands. Alright, let's pull all of these cards out. Special terrain can go in its own baggie. Separate these out so I don't have to go hunting for the separate stacks again. I'll start moving the other bits over to the narrow section, see how well that works for me. Odds are, even after I get all of these cards bagged and into the bigger section, I'll probably still have room in the bigger section to bring everything down, or to put some of the bits in there. Especially the treasure bag will probably go in there when it's all said and done. All right, here's the last group of cards going in. Okay. Let's see how these look. All right, that's looking a little better. Now I need to see if I can get the loot. It's probably still not going to close perfectly. That should close. Looking at this, by the time I get the reference sheet and the rule book back in here, that I think should close. Let's bring the reference sheet in. It might be a little bit tight, but let's get back to the rule book here. Played using cooperative format, okay? All the setup for everything. Oh, wow. This is actually going to take up a little bit more space than I thought it would, but I can probably deal with it. I'm laying out how all the cards look. Okay. Looks like there's a lot of time devoted to explaining the cards. Winning the game. Okay. Seems pretty straightforward at a glance. So what kind of dice do I need? It's probably just D6s that I need. Which, I've got enough dice around here. I think I can pull something together for that. Engagement and deeds. Okay. Night phase, additional rules and rules reference. Actually, what does it say about token limitations? That's always a point of contention. No limit to the number of tokens. If provided tokens run out, use a substitute. Okay. Then we've got terminology, definitions, difficulties, summaries, and an index. That's always useful. So we've got everything back in the box. We'll bring the box back in shot, and we'll see if that closes. If that closes after all of that. Oh, look at that. Very nicely done. Cards are separated, but like I said, I'll need to figure out a more permanent solution than the baggies, especially since I want to sleeve everything eventually. But that's everything in the box for Gloom of Kilforth. I do plan on continuing with more product unboxings over the weekend because I still have a few more games to get to. But we've got a lot of great stuff coming up on the channel. Saturday, Mystical Munchies will continue out of the Can You Take the Heat cookbook with the side, JR's Country Cornbread. As I mentioned, we'll be continuing with unboxings all weekend. Sunday, we'll be continuing the spring campaign in Arkham Horror, the card game, with the second scenario, To the Forbidden Peaks. Wednesday next week, what are we doing next week Wednesday? Oh, we're doing another playthrough of Welcome to, Building Another Neighborhood. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves. Oh, okay, yeah, I was expecting... I was kind of expecting that from the word go, Mike. Forgive me, I was going to have to rip the interior insert out. And that's where I was going to where I might not end up keeping the box. But I will see about that. Anyway, be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.